I have a killer headache and my pug is snoring in the background, but at least I got a new headset, so unfortunately it picks up more popping and more lip smacky stuff, so sorry about that, guys. Anyways, I went on a little hiatus because I have a full-time job now and I can't afford to keep working on videos 3 times a month, so it's down to twice a month. Really sorry for that. I'll talk more about that in my segment that I do at the end of these videos. Now on to the video. In my last video, I talked about Love and Deepspace, how the game essentially worked, what gacha and otome games are, and how it applied to lads, gave short introductions to the main and side characters of the game, and talked about the political discussions surrounding the game and its impact it's had on worldwide societies. In this video, I'm going to do my best to go over the story of the game as in-depth as I can. I think I figured out what I want to do. I want to talk about how complicated the main story is and the key details of it. Real quick, just to give y'all a short intro to myself if you're new here, my name's Avery and this is my channel where I have time lapses of me drawing in the background like creepshow art without the stalking, while I yap about whatever I want D'Angelo Wallace style. I don't consider myself a lads YouTuber, but considering it's one of my special interests at the moment, I've been doing a lot of videos on the game. Subscribe if you want to see more and let's get on with the video. If you're watching this video, I'm assuming one of 3 things. Either you watched my last video and are here for the update on this game your child/girlfriend is suddenly so obsessed with, you're a fledgling player wanting a synopsis of the game, or you play the game and want to watch this anyways. No matter what, I'm glad you're here and I hope I meet your expectations. I probably won't though. One thing that seems to elude most outsiders of the game is the fact that it's not just a horny game full of hot men and odd tropes. It's a deeply thought out and time-consuming story with horniness weaved in only after a bond is established with each character. The biggest example we can use is the 2025 Valentine's Day banner release, To Catch 22. On the surface, it just seems like muscular men dressed in provocative outfits and being femdomed by the MC. But in reality, the sexually tense scenes within the story were only granted after 2 hours of a very long and very well thought out story about corrupt governments and a monstrous society. There were also 2 very different endings, some of which would end up with the love interest being killed. If you failed to hit Zane's kill switch, then the alternate universe story would end up with Zane being publicly executed. If you succeeded, then the story would end with Zane and MC meeting once again in a vet clinic. If you failed to hit Silas's kill switch, you would end up having to shoot him yourself to not only escape him with your own life intact, but also to stop him from hurting others. Silas's main story branch is only truly accessible after playing through the entire rest of the story. That's well over 100 different chapters even if you only play the one love interest's branch. You can also only unlock Caleb as a love interest after playing the main story of Homecoming Wings, which comes after Under Deepspace, Prologue to Tomorrow, and Long-Awaited Revelry. It can be a lot, and normally I suggest you only play the parts of the game I think you'd be interested in, but this is an otome game where the characters and their personalities depend on the deeper story. You can't just pop in on Caleb's story after meeting him for the first time in Under Deepspace and then get mad when you find him literally insane. Like, how are you gonna explain that? Trying to summarize this shit is harder than me trying to say the word brewery. You get the point. It's such a complicated story and honestly it's a little overwhelming trying to cover everything. I recommend watching my Twitch streams if you'd like the entire story along with my commentary. Anyways, you, MC, are a newly inaugurated deep space hunter at the Unicorn's headquarters in Lincoln City. Lincoln City is a modern Chinese urban utopia where a disaster happened 14 years prior to the current timeline called the Chrono Rift catastrophe. This event took lives, ruined lives, and affected many people's evols, such as the main characters. Evol, by the way, is basically a quirk or a mutation, separated into different classes depending on what they do. There are 4 classes: Elemental like Zave, Raph, and Zane, Psychic such as Caleb and Silas, and Anhausen like the main character, and finally Simulation, which we don't have an example of yet. Anhausen, for those of you confused why there's a random German name in this game, comes from the Middle English word enhausen, which means to enhance, raise, or lift up, which in the context of MC's resonance evol makes sense when you consider that her power heightens and strengthens other people's evols. Opposite of quirks in My Hero Academia, where they're found in about 80% of that world's population, in this game's world, evolvers are a very small portion of this world's population. Lincoln City is primarily where the story takes place. It's also the place the Chrono Rift catastrophe took place and the Deep Space Tunnel opened up over, and the place where people first saw Wanderers appear because of it. It's a very futuristic, modern, Chinese-inspired city that the game claims to be very open-minded. That open-mindedness mostly refers to the fact that in the cafe, boys can show up in literally bath towels and no one will comment. I personally think it's a shame, because I would love for Zane to show up in his bath towel and someone would be like, what the fuck? But maybe that's just me. Anyways, there are other locations within the story as well, such as the Arctic and Mount Eternal, Skyhaven, and the N109 zone, all of which are tied to different characters in the game. Where Lincoln is a city full of color and brightness and most people seem to be happy and content, the N109 zone is the complete opposite, with crime being rampant and policing being pretty much non-existent. We are first introduced to the story by MC graduating from the Hunter Academy and getting initiated into the association. Her registration is where we find out what her evol is, what class it is, and that the Unhausen class is extremely rare, and that her evol level is unable to be recognized either due to its extremely high power level or because of an attack she experienced during the Chrono Rift catastrophe. During the first chapter of the game, we meet many characters such as Tara, a co-worker, Nero, some nerd, Jenna, our boss, and Xavier, the first introduced love interest, and our co-worker and partner. The first time we meet him, he's literally snoozing on the job. We also learn that his evil is light. He's the first person we see MC resonate with. He's also very mysterious, having evaded every question we ask him. We learn about Onychines and Silas from him and Jenna when we find a modified protocore out in the field. After our first mission out in the field, we happen to run into a stranger whom we deem rude as first. He helps us win a fish from some kind of attraction and gives us some strange facts about Lemurians, a type of merfolk. Once we dismiss Lemurians as folktale and look away, he abruptly leaves us alone. After this encounter, we find ourselves rushing to Oxo Hospital for an appointment we're almost late for. It's here that we meet Zane and learn of MC's heart condition, which needs to be monitored. Later in our next mission, we actually run into Zane on our way to the site after his car breaks down. He's going back to the same place, so we end up giving him a ride there. When we get there, Zane tends to the owner of the house while we investigate. We learn the fluctuations are caused by the painting the man owns, a painting by Raphael. You see, the paint that Raphael uses is made from material that makes people hallucinate and go insane. This is very purposeful from Raph because he tends to sell these dangerous paintings to the people who have hurt Lemurians, and the target had a Lemurian skeleton in his home as decoration. This is something we clock immediately upon entering the man's house, with MC stating how creepy it is to have the skeleton. One day, we had to visit Grandma Josephine, a woman who took her and Caleb in and raised them as her own. When we get to the house, Caleb surprises us. He had come home for a surprise visit and made MC and Grandma dinner. The three of them have a conversation about Zane of all people, which notably makes Caleb withdraw. We go on a walk, fight a wanderer, and get into a fight with Caleb. He's insistent on us being safe, and we get mad at him because we feel he still treats us like a defenseless child. However, upon trying to re-enter the house, it literally explodes with Grandma and Caleb inside it. It's very traumatic actually, and I sure as hell wasn't expecting it the first time I played the game. After this traumatic event, we find ourselves trying to track down who we believe is responsible for the explosion. This leads us down a rabbit hole where we not only learn more about Onychines, but we also learn about Lumiere, the first person to kill a wanderer and who is responsible for establishing the Hunters Association. After her death, Zane hands us some records kept by Josephine that she had asked him to give us after she was gone. In these documents was information about MC. She learned she was experimented on as a child and that something called an ether core was fused with her heart, possibly causing her protocore syndrome. Because of all this new information, we decide to see Dr. Noah in a town called Snowcrest in the Arctic. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any information for us, so we go on to try and get into the N109 zone. We decide after some investigating that Onychines is responsible. We ask Raph to get us into the N109 zone to reach Silas himself, and Raph helps us. It does work, but only because we're kidnapped by someone who takes us into the zone. Before we can escape, the car is suddenly stopped and the man who kidnapped us is literally disintegrated in front of us by none other than Silas himself. It's here that we meet the twins, Lucas and Kieran as well, and learn that we have some sort of history with Silas. We agree for Silas to take us back to his manor, where it's very tense for a long time. It's kind of a cat and mouse game of Silas trying to explain his situation to us, and us being like, fuck you, you're a murderer. He takes us to a man who happened to know Josephine. Silas has been trying like hell to get us to resonate with him, but because MC has to have a peaceful mind or bond with the person she's trying to resonate with, we can't. It's here that Silas learns his attempts at getting us to remember him have scared us, and that we're either scared, wary, or disgusted by him and his rather forceful attempts. Somehow, we become attached to Silas. Literally, and end up having to cooperate with each other to get the answers we're both seeking. We get at least somewhere, and the linkage dissipates, which also softens us towards Silas once he realizes he can't force our memories to return. Eventually, we return home with some information, but not exactly what we were looking for. A year after the explosion, we finally receive the death certificate paperwork for Caleb and Josephine. At the same time, we go on an unofficial mission in Skyhaven, where the Far Space Fleet has been gaining more power under their new colonel. We decide to go undercover, but are quickly caught. Then we find out that the colonel is none other than Caleb, our Caleb. He explains that he was able to contain the explosion with his evol so we weren't caught in it, but that he couldn't save Josephine. The explosion gravely injured Caleb and even took his right arm, which is now replaced with a high-tech mechanical prosthetic. This is where we see a completely new side of Caleb, one that we'd never seen before. While we're in Skyhaven, we coincidentally meet up with Zane at the hospital where we're trying to interview half of a pair of twins caught in a similar situation to us and Caleb. Their house was targeted, blown up, and the twins were the only survivors. However, the boy is missing, and the girl is injured in the hospital. We get Zane to let us talk to her, and she tells us where she believes her brother is located. We try to set up a rendezvous point to pick up the boy and reunite him with his sister. But the night we're supposed to meet up with Zane, we catch a small cold, and Caleb takes the opportunity to, and this is gonna give me a lot of shit, basically drug us, making us miss our meeting with Zane, and we learn the next morning that the girl had died and the boy was taken by the fleet. We learn later that whatever Ever had done to Caleb by inserting an emotion dampening chip into his brain was done to the little boy as well. It's a truly heartbreaking scene we witness, and it leads to a huge fight between us and Caleb. We leave Skyhaven having pretty much failed our mission, but we forgive Caleb because, well, he's our family, and he's the only family we have left. I was going to continue to summarize all the way up to the most recent death and rebirth, but I don't exactly remember all of the details. I actually had to skim through a video by another YouTuber in order to get enough of Homecoming Wings' plot, so I'll save that for another time. I've been playing the main story on my Twitch channel, so keep an eye out for the upload and edited VODs later. There are more ways to get more on the individual love interest stories. There are ASMR type stories called Secret Times, where it's literally just, these ones are considered the most steamy because, yeah, if you just listen to one of the steamy ones, you'll understand. I'm dying to know what they do to make those noises. Crazy shit. Imagine playing the game and being friends with one of the VAs in real life and being like, so I like the way you moaned in this one. Hilarious. Then there are tender moments, which is basically just an immersive read of little dates or outings you have with the love interests, which also reveal more of their lore and personalities outside of the main story. Then there's Memoria, Bonds, and Myths. The Bonds section of the game is where you can find the more extensive cutscenes like in the main story. Here you get a small story unique to each love interest that gives you moments of why their bond with you is important, such as Caleb and MC getting trapped in the attic together, or Zane and MC meeting for the first time outside the hospital in nearly 10 years. Next is Memoria. These are long visual novel playthroughs that come with the 5-star memory cutscenes that you can either get from the banner events or the wish pool. These stories are very long and elaborate and go into a lot of detail about moments you and the love interest shared together. They can be cute and wholesome, angsty, or lust-filled. Pick your poison, really. Finally, there's the myths. Basically, MC has multiple past lives with each love interest, and each love interest has their own lore that make them who they are. Some of the myths are set in the current timeline, while others are from the future or past timelines. Each love interest also has one base game myth and at least one limited time myth. Xavier is basically a space prince from a future distant planet called Philos. His base myth is shooting stars and is about his and MC's time together in Philos. It takes place in the future. His first limited myth is Twilight's Dream, which takes place in the modern day and where we we get confirmation in universe that Xavier is Lumiere. And the second limited myth is Where Stars Fall, which is the story of the downfall of Thelos. Zane is a normal doctor in this timeline, but in his past lives, he's always either been a god or connected to one. In his base myth, Tower of Secrets, he's the Foreseer, a man cursed by a god called Astra. In his first limited myth, Snow's Embrace, Zane is the Master of Fate, who was tasked with taking out MC so her evil won't destroy the world. In his second limited myth, Zane is known as the God of Annihilation. I have no idea what this myth is about because I haven't played it yet and have miraculously avoided all spoilers for it. Raphael is God of the Sea in every timeline. However, he's constantly separated from MC. I don't know pretty much anything about his myths considering I don't play his stories at all, but in his base myth Sea of Golden Sand, Raphael's an assassin or something. In his first limited myth, Forgotten Sea, he's the heir to the aging sea god. In his second limited myth, he's the sea god. Silas only has 2 myths at the moment since he wasn't available upon release like Raph, Xavier, and Zane. In his base myth, which takes place in present day, he and MC spend more time together, which warms MC up to him. In his limited myth, he's a dragon called a fiend, and MC is a sorceress who promises her soul to him. Caleb, like Silas, only has 2 myths at the moment since he wasn't a love interest until a full year after the game was released. In his base myth, Lucid Dream, which takes place in present day, MC and Colonel Caleb try to reconnect their damaged relationship, and we find out more about what was done to Caleb after the accident and just how much it's affected him. In his limited myth, which I know nearly nothing about, MC and Caleb are humanoid weapons known as X-02 and A-01. He was made to destroy MC, and that's basically all I know. These stories and myths strengthen the bond between you and your preferred love interest and also raises your affinity in the game as well. You can also unlock a battle companion based on the boys' myths if you obtain both 5-star cards from that myth. Speaking of battles, there are also battles you can fight alongside your love interest, most of which don't provide any story but do give you materials you can use to rank up your memories, which then give you more dias, which you then can use to get more memories and rank up your affinity with the love interest you choose to battle with. There's also 2 story-based battles that you can play that refresh its winnings each month, so you can earn clothing items and dias from it for more pulls. Don't ask me about the story though, because I don't actually read them. I just go through it for the cash. You can also go on dates with your love interest. These dates include kitty cards, a cute card game you can play, a claw machine, and a picture studio where you can take pictures of your MC and the love interest of your choice, and people have come up with really good shots from that feature. There's also a journal you can write in. Leveling up your affinity with the boys unlocks a lot of interactions with them. You can unlock activities to do with the boys like study or work, which creates a lo-fi type environment in the cafe for you to focus on studying or working. Exercising, which has the boys work out with you, or sleeping, which creates a calm environment for you to sleep with the boys alongside you. If you're into lo-fi ASMR, these interactions will be great for you. These types of interactions have a time limit that you can set, except for the sleep one, so you can time your sessions accurately. And a period tracker. How did I forget that? That was so controversial when it first came out for no fucking reason. It may sound goofy to a lot of you, but it's actually a pretty great game and the story is phenomenal, so I really do recommend it if you like sci-fi stuff. I know the ending of this video may seem kind of abrupt, but well, I have a life now, unfortunately, and honestly, I just want to get it done. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I also hope it gave you insight into what to expect with Love and Deepspace. The game takes a lot of space on your phone though, so be warned. I hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Check out my socials linked in the description, and check out my Twitch channel because I'll be streaming this Sunday around 4 p.m. EST. Bye! This is the part of the video where I yap about whatever I'm feeling. I feel like shit right now. I feel so angry and I don't know. I'm just tired. Thanksgiving took a lot out of me and I still have to work today, so yay for me. And I just realized that my favorite coffee place may not be open today. That sucks. Anyways, I hope you guys' Thanksgiving went well. Mine went really well, but there was just a lot of people there. There was like 16 people in my house, including the people that already live here. So it was very busy. There were a lot of kids. My uncle and his wife brought their brood of 7 children, which includes a teeny tiny little infant. She's so cute. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. I'm just tired for the holidays, and I have a little vacation coming up soon, so I hope my video will be good. I mean, I already have most of the script written out, and I already have it halfway recorded, so I guess I can edit while I'm on vacation. So it shouldn't be too bad. Anyways, thank y'all for watching. I'm gonna go get ready for work. Bye!